One time I pooped my pants in the middle of teaching a youth group class. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Youth Group Chronicles. Joining me on the show again, I have Pastor Timmy Stearns.
It's your boy. What's going on, everybody?
You've done a few episodes before, but we thought, we'll have to have him back. He did all right.
What can I say? It was a grand slam the first time. I'm really going for trying to get in the home run derby. So,
hey, we'll take it.
Just go for it. It's good.
Awesome, man. So, I was telling you, before we started recording, that the podcast is starting to pick up a bit.
Fire.
So people are emailing in submissions.
Okay.
So it's no longer... So for those listening, a lot of people have asked, where do you get these stories? Mm-hmm. I get them from Facebook groups. I ask people, what's your biggest, craziest fail from youth ministries? Things like that. Fire. And now... like I said, it's starting to pick up, so people are emailing their submissions. So if you have a crazy story that you want to share on this podcast, we'd love to feature it on the show. And that's where we're going to start, is knocking out some of these email submissions. We got a bunch here, so we'll just start tacking away at these. The first one is from John and Amy F.
Come on, John and Amy F.
For one of our games at Kids Church, we decided to do a try not to laugh challenge.
Okay.
My husband decided to look up clean, funny animal videos. He picked one, watched the first few animals on there without sound, and thought, okay, looks good.
Without sound.
Yeah. Well, when he played it during a large group of kids with sound, it started blaring, "Move, bleep, get out the way, get out the way, bleep."
Nice and clean, nice and clean. That's what I love to see.
She said, I ran as fast as I could to the back,
makes it worse,
cut off the sound, and all was well. That is until the last video, which was two turtles making love.
Of course. Of course. Okay, here's some advice, guys. You thought it was a joke show. No, this is an advice show. YouTube Premium. Just do it, guys. One, because of the ads, which this one wasn't. And then number two, you got to screen them. If you don't screen your YouTube videos, guys, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Literally.
It could be one of those jump scares, like you're playing it in children's church, and then it's like the clown, like the car, and it's just far away, and it's it's getting blurry, and then the clown jumps. I don't know, man. It's never good.
And also proof your videos with sound beforehand.
With sound, it's dumb. We've watched the Super Bowl at church. Almost never a good idea, but you gotta, if you have the possibility to proof it, please proof it.
Yes.
All right, just listen to me.
It's a wise move.
It's wise.
I mean, not even just listen to you. Listen to a few more episodes of the show.
Literally.
That have already been out, and you'll realize pretty quick that Spotify Premium, YouTube Premium, whatever they call it, those are always wise choices.
Use the church card. Talk to your pastor. Say, it's for the kids' salvation.
Yes,
all right?
Literally. Sarah, she said, here's something I'll never forget. My church's youth group goes on a summer mission trip each year. The church always provides a charter bus for us to use during the duration of the trip.
Okay.
Essentially, the bus would pick us up and drop us to and from our lodging and work site each day.
Nice.
Now, one day, we finished our tasks for the day quite early, and we had some time to kill before the driver would be back to pick us up. All of the male students on the trip, about 25 of them 7th to 12th grade boys, decided they were going to create a surprise for the rest of the group as a way to kill their time.
Nice.
So they went in another room and were very secretive. Every time someone would try and see what they were doing, they would immediately stop and wait for the person to leave. Eventually, they finished whatever it was they were doing, and everyone moved on. Now, cut to later that day, it was nighttime at this point. The bus comes back to pick us up. We all load on like usual, and we head back to our lodging, which is about 30 minutes away. The drive was dark due to it being night, and we were in the middle of nowhere, and it was very quiet due to the amount of exhausted and half asleep students and leaders. Now picture this. A silent, dark bus full of sleepy teens, chaperones, and a few pastors are heading home on a quiet road in the middle of nowhere after a long day of mission work. All of a sudden, the bus's party light feature begins to go through its club Y fades and flashes, and Magic Mike-esque music starts loudly playing over the system. Next thing we know, every male student, both shy and outgoing, are in the aisles, gyrating, grinding, and suggestively dancing on the chairs and those seated in those chairs. So all the ladies, basically. Okay. I have a vivid memory of a boy about a year older than me body rolling on the seat I was sitting in.
Oh my.
All up and down the aisles of the charter bus for the duration of a 3-minute long song, middle and high school boys were giving their best Magic Mike moves as everyone else was speechless or either screaming from amusement and horror. I don't know how it went for 3 minutes, but wow. Come to find out, the boys had planned out and rehearsed the whole thing while they were killing time on the bus. And when the bus had arrived, they secretly got the driver in on their plan. I don't know if it was just because it was the last day of the trip and they were all getting a little too comfortable. But after that, everyone, including leaders, kind of just went, well, that happened, and moved on. It's definitely something I'll never forget.
Wow. Well, that happened. Gosh. All right. That's a couple
That's
things.
something.
A couple notes. Always the middle of nowhere. They're never like, yeah, like in a normal place, you know?
Not in the city or something.
It's always the middle of nowhere. And then 2, it's like, just there's always red flags in these stories. It's 25, 7 to 12th grade boys.
All disappear into a room alone.
It's like, how is that allowed? Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's like that's
that
just
would be
instantly
a
red
flag.
flag.
Yeah,
Like they're never that spiritual. They're not meeting there for a prayer meeting. They're like, yeah, you know what we should do in this time? We got some dead time. Let's pray.
Let's pray.
No,
Yo,
they're planning a
seek the
Magic
Lord.
Mike show. That's what they're doing. All right, they're practicing. They're like, no, dude, shake your hips like that. No, all right, just get a leader, get a plant. Okay, have some 10th grade kid who loves God. Put him in there. Get him in the mix.
He can be the spy.
Yeah.
The youth group spy. I feel like every youth group needs a couple of those.
You need a couple.
So Ben K also emailed in.
Okay, Ben. What's up, man?
Ben said, in the middle of the night at camp, a kid woke me up because he had to go to the bathroom. I was a counselor for middle school boys. To keep the ratio, another kid and I had to go with the kid so that there was 3 of us at all times.
Good. This
Smart
is good
thinking.
so far.
Yeah.
This is good.
I told the kid to go wake up his bunkmate so that the 3 of us could go. I began getting my shoes on, and another kid started to climb down from his bunk at the same time. I thought, this was great. He probably had to go to the bathroom as well, and I wouldn't have to wake up another kid. But this kid climbed down from his bunk, turned and faced the wall opposite me, all as I thought, this kid is going to pee. A second after this, I heard the sound of pee hitting the concrete floor.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
The original kid came back and saw the kid peeing and said, dude, the kid finished peeing, and I went over and tapped him on the shoulder. Apparently this kid was sleepwalking and thought he was at home.
Wow.
All 3 of us headed down to the bathhouse and came back to the cabin, and everything went fine for the rest of the night. Mind you, this all happened at 3 a.m.
Oh my gosh. That one, you know, there's no, what are you going to do? You know, sleepwalking, the kid, you know, they got me there. You know?
So here's the part that tripped me up about that story, is he said the kid thought he was at home. So he pees on the floor at home.
Maybe he's like, in his head, he like did the amount of
3 steps to the bathroom or something. Yeah, you might be right.
Like,
you might be right.
This is it. And here's the best thing you can do there. Go to sleep, act like nothing happened, just wake up, be like, whoa, there's pee. This is so weird. Like, you don't want to clean that up, man. Especially
Nasty.
concrete, it'll be fine, dude. That's
just pour some hot water.
There's only a couple more days of camp left. You'll be all right.
Just don't step in it. You'll be okay.
Literally.
Chandler R, he emailed in and said, I had a crazy thing happen while leading my first youth group ever. I took the position in September, and by December, I was preparing our Christmas party.
Wow.
Now, keep in mind, this was a smaller church, and basically they had just me as part-time staff and then the pastor who was full-time. Okay. Both of his daughters were in the youth group, 9th and 6th grade at the time. I decided that we would do a Dirty Santa gift game for our party. I don't know if I would do that, but
that already kind of scares me. Dirty
For
Santa?
my present, I decided to bring fun socks. What could go wrong, right? I went to American Eagle and found some nice socks that had snowmen smiling and waving on them. I don't know. I don't see how this is Dirty Santa, but okay. We threw the party, and the pastor's oldest daughter ended up with the socks. Well, not even 10 minutes after we leave for the night, his daughter calls me cry, like dying laughing. The whole family says, you're not going to believe what's on these socks. He's like, what? It was a snowman. Well, the first sock was a snowman smiling. However, the second sock, which was hidden inside the first, was an angry snowman giving the middle finger.
Oh my gosh.
Talk about embarrassed. The pastor was cool, knew it was an accident, but for this to happen 3 months into my first youth ministry position is crazy, to say the least.
Yeah, that's always terrifying. You're like, is this it? Is this the end?
Now, is that game Dirty Santa? I think it's called White Elephant. I think
like with the prank gifts, right?
But I think in The Office, don't they call it Dirty Santa or something like that?
I don't know.
I vaguely remember that. Maybe it's like a different name for it. But
when Dwight dresses up as the other guy, the
it's when
Santa or something.
It's basically when they do the gift exchange. I think they call that dirty.
We always call it white elephant.
Yeah,
you get like toilet paper in the shape of like something cool like a shoebox. I don't know something.
So those are some email submissions. Let's move on to some youth ministry fails.
Come on now.
This is bad. Jake H said, I lost one of our autistic kids from youth group in the mall.
No, Jake. No.
It was the second biggest city in our state. So that's the mall he left him at. On my first trip as a youth pastor, we found him, thankfully, and he was looking at suits, apparently. Dude, the first trip.
Golly, Jake. Come on, man.
So there was a similar story. I don't know if it's been released yet, depending on like the order of these episodes, but I did an episode with Pastor Chad, and there was a similar story. And he's like, that guy spoke to the parents ahead of time and was like, hey, like, I know your son has some disabilities or daughter, like, we're gonna keep an eye on him, they're safe with us.
Exactly.
Leaves the kid at the mall.
Exactly. You always need that pre-conversation. You're gaining their trust. They're like, it's their first time, like, golly.
Oh dear Lord. Alan D, he said, my biggest youth ministry fail was when we played a whole church hide and seek without giving clear parameters.
There it is, guys. There's
After 20 minutes of not finding a kid, I decided to recheck the trash cans because they had already been checked once. I decided to poke a trash bag and immediately realized I poked a head. My mind is thinking that I have a kid that just suffocated himself in a trash bag, but luckily he popped right out the second time I poked his head. I had a conversation with the kid about why that was not a wise hiding choice. I wanted to talk to his parents afterward as well, just so they could maybe have a conversation about that as well and say like, this is why you shouldn't hide inside a trash bag. And their response was, yeah, he takes hide and seek pretty seriously.
Yeah. I feel that kid. If I was him, I would have put clothes on the outside.
Smart.
So they just poke the clothes. Obviously you poke a hole in the bag, you can breathe a little bit. But yeah,
I guess that means he was legit in the plastic. That's kind of scary.
I would do it. I'd tie it up at top too.
You were dedicated. Your parents would be like, yeah, he takes hide and seek.
Literally. The last time I played, no one found me. I was like,
they're still looking to this day.
Literally.
Legend has it.
we were in Atlanta, and we hid. There's like this back warehouse. No, there was no way they're gonna find me. They ended the game, and I was still hidden, and I was like on my phone, just like waiting for somebody to text me. I'm like, the game's over.
Hide and seek level expert.
Literally.
Henry B said, my biggest youth ministry fail was when I left a student at a fast food restaurant in a not so good part of a big city after a football game.
Yep.
I realized it about 20 minutes after we left. It was the pastor's 13-year-old son.
It's always the pastor's
So
kids,
it's the PKs, right?
Yeah, they probably intentionally hid just to be like, I'm gonna be a punk. Yeah, I'm gonna get him.
Jonathan P, I once lost a kid at a youth convention. When I checked the roll in the hotel, I found out he was missing. Or when I checked roll in the hotel. At that moment, my phone rang, and it was the police department.
Oh, no.
He was in the back of an ambulance being shocked back to life after overdosing on pills.
What?
That's wild. They lost his pulse twice in the night after having his stomach pumped, and he was released just with his town hospital gown.
Oh, my gosh.
Needless to say, we got looks as we walked into the convention. So the kid must... butt cheeks and all, hanging out the back, walking through the convention center.
That's kind of a crazy story, man.
That got like dark and then better.
Yeah,
real quick.
No, he's all right. Real talk. I hope he's all right, man.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he is. They released him. Everything ended up being okay, but so he checked roll, and the kid was missing for like a night or something. That's actually wild. Wow.
Yikes.
Always double count, you guys.
Yeah.
Matt C. He said, here's one of my biggest youth ministry fails. We had rented the state's youth campground for our own youth retreat.
Okay.
The final night, we did a huge party with inflatables, giant fires, etc. While using the rental sumo wrestler costumes, I speared a kid in the costume and gave him a concussion.
There's nothing you can do there, folks. That's gonna happen. You're the youth leader. You get involved. Someone's getting hurt. Have you seen the big ones where they're getting like what do they call them? They're like
the ball.
Yeah, and you're like inside of it, and you like hit people with it.
They're pretty fun.
Yeah,
I did one. I am pretty sure I went against a guy that was bigger than me because I mean, I'm pretty big myself and I'm pretty heavy, and I got the wind knocked out of me. I think it was like maybe he just knew how to throw his weight around or something, because it actually hurt, even though I was in that big ball. Yeah, a little dangerous, but we'll take it.
If you're a youth pastor and you're playing, someone's getting hurt. Just know it could be dodgeball with like the soft foam balls.
Pastor Cody does that. Always hits kids. Always hurts them too.
I'll never forget. I was at a youth camp and we're playing. We had the good ones though. They weren't the soft ones. We were playing, and there's girls out on the other team. It's whatever, but they're good. They played softball, dangerous for a dodgeball game. And it's like one of the last parts of the game. Here's the thing. Headshots don't count. You get a headshot, they're still in. Boom. I try to hit this kid. Side note, I'm terrible at dodgeball. It curves right around this kid, smacks this girl in the face. She's like, wham, her hair goes back and everything. But she's still in. So I'm like, okay, so we're still playing. I throw it again. The same girl, wham, hits her in the face again. I'm just like,
dear Lord, that must be a sign for her not to be playing anymore.
I gave up myself. I'm like, I'm just going to take myself out.
You retired that day.
I did. But again, I was youth leader playing with. I'm like, nah, I'm out. Man. I can't do this.
Yes, I have heard many stories about that. Youth pastors just get a little too competitive, I think is what it
always
is.
Happens.
So Matt C. also wrote in and said, one of my biggest youth ministry fails was when we were at a retreat. The youth boys' cabin was up on the hill in the woods, and I kept telling this 13-year-old middle schooler to go up to the bathroom before service. He kept saying he didn't have to go. They all say that. As we were walking down to the service, he paused on the hill, and I yelled for him to, come on, hurry up. He says, I gotta pee. And I respond with, just pee in your pants, come on. A few seconds later, his khakis get really dark. And he peed in his pants.
Honestly, that's on you. He's staying. He's like, I'm submitted. I'm submitted to my leadership. Whatever they say, I got you.
This is a weird request, Pastor, but if you say so.
If whatever it takes for the kingdom, man, I'll do it.
Oh, my goodness. Nate B. One of my biggest youth ministry fails was when I printed a youth group shirt that looked like it had a picture of male reproductive anatomy on it.
Very good verbiage.
I had them printed and didn't hand them out until we were at the event, where a whole bunch of moms noticed it. I had already passed them out to everybody. How did the moms notice before anybody else? Like, no teenage boy was like, oh. Wow.
Wow, that was, guys.
Didn't even proof it before the event.
Get them checked. That's what Karens are for. The internal Karens, you need them. You say, hey, can you just, what do you think of this design? Oh, I hate it. It's too bright. It's too colorful. It's good, guys. Don't worry about it. But that's why.
This is when you need them.
Things can be spelled wrong. If the shirt folds in a certain way and it's like a swear word, you gotta be thinking about this stuff.
That's actually true. That's one you definitely got to watch out for. Nate also wrote in and said, one time I pooped my pants in the middle of teaching a youth group class. I couldn't exactly excuse myself without an explanation, so I taught the rest of the class, which was a big portion of it, in my defiled underwear. A few weeks later, I taught a class titled Dirty Little Secrets and shared the story with the youth group kids.
Wait, but
Dear Lord, bro. How does that happen?
Like, how extreme is this class where you can't be like, hey guys, just hold up. Even if you end class early,
you don't have to tell them you did anything. Just say, look, I really got to use the bathroom.
Hey, I got to drop the Browns off at the pool. Whatever you got to do, gosh, I don't know.
Philip G, he said, one of my biggest youth ministry fails was when we took kids on a float trip. We stopped to take breaks and the kids started skipping rocks. One kid who was swimming dared the kids skipping the rocks to skip one his direction. He broke a huge, very large piece of his front tooth right off. Oh, that's horrible, man. So this isn't a youth group fail, but just in general. Have you ever tried to toss things in people's mouths?
Yes.
If you do an M&M, that actually really hurts. Can you imagine skipping a stone? I didn't break a tooth or anything, but I was like, oh wow, I probably shouldn't do that again. It hit my tooth. But a freaking rock getting thrown across the lake, not fun, dude. No wonder it broke right off.
That's like David and Goliath practice, man. It's like checking these rocks.
All right, I got one more story here. This was also from Philip. He said, at camp, 2 of our students got into a fist fight in the sanctuary 5 minutes before service.
Classic.
If that doesn't happen at youth group, I really did youth group at this point.
Come on now. Hey, talk about some outreach.
Hey, there we go. Ministry opportunity, right? All right, man.
Oh, that was the whole story.
That was the story.
I thought it was just the beginning, and he's like, I stopped him, I ripped my pants, I preached him. No,
that was all he wrote. It was one sentence.
That's
they
so
just
funny.
got in a fist fight.
That's great. Yeah, I love that. That's awesome, man. Yeah, thanks for the update. Yeah.
Thank you, Philip. Appreciate that one.
My dog.
Well, anyway, that is the end of this podcast episode. If you are listening to this and you have stories, I say it every time, we want to hear those stories.
We do. We'd love to laugh at them.
Best place to submit them is ygchronicles@gmail.com. We'd love to hear what you have. There's some doozies out there, and every time I keep going, man, nothing could get worse than this. And then someone emails.
And then someone gets hit in the tooth with a rock.
Yeah. On top of that, check out TikTok and Instagram. And the cool thing about that is you get us in video form. The second coolest thing about that is you get some videos early, almost like a premiere before they hit the podcast. So you might see some pretty cool stories on there. Instagram is just Youth Group Chronicles. Check that out as well. And appreciate everybody listening. Peace out.
Peace out.